What is up, everybody? Josh here again, and today we have a new RuneScape Dragonwilds video for you. Today we're going to be showing you several tips and tricks for RuneScape Dragonwilds, and this is part one of our two-part series for the tips for the game. Let's get into it, shall we? So one of the very first things you're going to need is some runes, and runes are very easy to get. These are runes, and this is how you can get runes. You can just use your pickaxe and actually mine them, but also these ones that are floating around in the air, once you get a bow or something ranged, like a staff or something like that, you can actually sit there and shoot these down, and that will give you additional runes that you can get, like so. And my next tip is going to be make sure you do not sleep on this Rocksplosion skill that you're going to get. At level 11, you're going to unlock Rocksplosion, and that's going to give you the ability to explode rocks. And that's going to be with earth runes and fire runes. You can craft the runes, of course, at the rune crafting altar. Once you unlock this ability, though, you're probably never going to look back from it. This ability and another one we're going to show you, but Rocksplosion is a really good ability for you to farm a large cluster of rocks and stuff at the same time, kind of like so. And this can also be a great way for you to gather stone if you need to get a bunch of stone at once, or any kind of ores in the game. Just use Rocksplosion. Also, there's two wood cutting spells you're not going to want to sleep on as well, and that's Astral Projection at level 11, and also at level 27, whenever you do enough farming, you're going to be able to unlock Splinter, and this is what those do. Astral Projection is going to use some Astral runes, 5 of those, and 10 wind runes. And what you can do is you can summon a little axe and kind of line up some trees in a row, like so. And then go ahead and chop down a bunch of them all at once. Like that. So if you can get these trees kind of close to each other, once you get that Splinter skill, like this right here, you can actually splinter multiple trees at once. And this is a really fast way of farming wood. And you're going to need lots of wood in this game, that's for sure. Another item that you're going to need a ton of in this game is going to be this right here, flax. So one of the hardest things in this game, well, not hardest, but it's one of the most used items in this game, is probably going to be coarse thread. So you're going to need lots and lots of flax. And in the starting zone, there are lots and lots of flax flowers around. So go ahead and anytime you see one of these little blue flowers like this, go ahead and pick it up and gather it, because flax is probably going to be your #1 choke point for crafting in this game. Well, at least currently, until they add something better or different. Also, while we're talking about the very beginning area right here in Bramblemead Valley, there's actually a really good area right here where our base is located. And this is where you can get you some cabbage and potatoes, and you can actually take these and combine them together to make you a really nice food. It's really easy to make, and you can get plenty of potatoes and cabbage around the area. And once you unlock the cooking pot, you could just throw those in there and combine the recipes like this, and this will give you vegetable soup. This is probably one of the easiest foods that I've had, and actually gives you quite a bit of food. And it's super easy to make. You just got to gather that cabbage and potatoes, which are everywhere here in this starter area. So let's talk a little bit about your base location, your very first one at least. And we're going to say that this area right here, anywhere in the green area in this map, is going to be probably one of the best places for you to build, because it's probably one of the easiest places to survive in. Not only that, but also whenever you get attacked by a warband, you don't have to have like really large warbands or very difficult warbands to worry about, unless you just want the difficulty, of course. But you probably want to build somewhere in this whole area right here whenever you first start out a base. And now later you can actually go ahead and make lodestones and transport between areas on the map that are currently available. This right here is a lodestone. This is what you're going to use to teleport once you start doing dungeons and stuff like that, or vaults is what they're called in this game. You can notice a vault by the icon right here. This is what a vault looks like. And these are kind of like dungeons that you go into, and if you go into them and defeat them, once you get enough gear and stuff, of course, you can get vault cores and vault shards from that, which you use to make the lodestones. Vaults are pretty important in this game. There's many items that require vault cores and shards, but one of the main items is lodestones, and you can see on our map here that we have lodestones located everywhere. So if you have a certain place on the map that you want to go ahead and teleport back to later on, this would be a great idea. Just go ahead and place you bunches of lodestones once you get plenty of vault cores. You definitely need vault cores, runes, and stone for you to make a lodestone once you unlock that. And you just unlock it by just progressing through the game. Since we're talking about bases and base locations, in your base, you can actually stack boxes. Stacking boxes is a really great way to kind of manage your space inside of your base. And you can see we can stack them at least 3 high. We could probably even go even higher if we wanted to. But yeah, you can actually stack boxes. It's quite simple to do so. All you have to do is place a box, and then you just kind of hover over a top of that box, and you can place another box on top of it, stacking it like so. Another thing while we're on boxes is that you can actually sort boxes by hitting the space bar, and that's going to sort all the items that's inside of the box. You can also hit R to take all the items in the box, and you can actually fill up boxes and fill stacks from your inventory, which is going to be a lot faster and easier to sort whenever you're in a hurry. Say, for example, if you wanted to go ahead and these logs right here, we want to go ahead and stick them into the box. All we have to do is hit F, and it's going to put logs in there as long as there's logs of the same type. And that kind of makes it easy to just kind of go through here and hit F on the boxes whenever you open them to go ahead and sort items like so. The only bad thing is if you have water in your box like we do, it does kind of sort your water, which kind of sucks, but it's not too bad of a trick to have. And of course, if you want to delete something in your inventory, just gotta hold X, and that is going to delete the item from your inventory as well. Anything you drop in the world is not going to despawn ever. So if you want to go ahead and get rid of it permanently, just destroy it. Now currently, and this is just in the early access stage of the game, you have to have cooking pots and stuff like that outside. You can see that ours are inside. And the only reason why that was able to do that is that I free placed a bunch of 1x1 squares up top and made kind of like a chimney. So as long as there is access to the sky above the cooking pots, like so, you actually can go ahead and put those inside of your base instead of it being outside. Most of the things in the game do respawn, and this includes chests that you find around in the world. So if you find a chest that's kind of near your base, check it again after a little bit, and you might see some other recipes and stuff inside that chest, and it may have respawned. So just kind of check your chests around in the world. They do respawn. Once you get to the sawmill phase of the game, you can actually attach these little lumber storage right next to the sawmill. And anytime that you go to do some lumbering, like so, all those planks are going to go straight into that lumber storage. We're going to go ahead and see there's nothing in there. And once it finishes, there's planks inside of the lumber storage. So instead of having it suck up into your inventory all the time, you can actually put lumber storage right next to the sawmill. Now you want to put it on the end where the log's going out, kind of on the blade side of the sawmill, and that's going to go ahead and store all your planks whenever you craft them. When you're playing RuneScape, you're going to get attacked by warbands. Basically inside here is where you go and talk to the old man. This place right here is completely impenetrable to raid attacks and warband attacks, and if you're being hunted as well, you won't be attacked. As you can see, we've kind of sunk some foundations into this area to kind of get structural integrity. But this little break right here on the ground keeps any kind of attacks from actually attacking your base. This place is completely impenetrable to warbands and hunting attacks. And there's also a chest inside of my area here. We can actually sit here and loot this chest we actually loot this chest all the time. And also, we've got an NPC in our base, which is pretty cool. It is always a great idea to keep wind rooms on you at all times, because Windstep is actually quite a very important part of the game. You can actually get to areas that you normally wouldn't be able to get to before, like this. If you're getting attacked by the dragon, just simply going to another area is a very good way to counter this. Just kind of dodge all of the poison spots on the ground, of course. But if you just go to another area, the dragon does not really follow you. So if you just want to kind of avoid the dragon attacks, just kind of run away. Either that or use an anti-poison potion, and these are made with Harlander from the swamp. And you can unlock potion making quite early as well. And the anti-poison potion will take a lot of the damage from the attacks away. So this is probably just because the game's early access, and it's probably an unintended feature. But if you're inside of a vault like this right here, and you see spikes like this, as long as you're rolling through them, you actually don't get attacked by those spikes. The same thing goes with like flames and all that other good stuff, like this right here. So if you're going to go and do something really dangerous and you know that you may have a possibility of dying, a good idea is to carry the mats for a lodestone on you and put a lodestone at your base. And if you go ahead and craft that lodestone, you can place a lodestone anywhere and pick it back up if you want to. And say, for example, if I was to die inside of this vault here, then all I'd have to do is teleport back here and my stuff's going to be sitting outside here for me, waiting for me. And I don't have to run all the way back from home back to the vault. So using a lodestone around the areas that you're going. So for example, if you live all the way down here in the Bramblemead Valley area and you die and you have to go all the way back up here in Fractured Plains or something like that, instead of doing so, just kind of put a lodestone down in the area that you want, or place lodestones around in the area so you can just teleport back and not have to walk clear from your house up to where you died. The only downfall to this is that vault cores do weigh 50 pounds and they can be quite heavy, but if you keep your inventory quite light, you should be able to place one down whenever you want to. So if you're quite early in the game and you don't have a lodestone unlocked, an alternative of doing this is to build you a little 1x1 hut, like so, just wherever you're going to be close to, and placing a bed in that hut, like so, and then you can just place a square tile for the roof. And then just place you a little bedroll inside. And go ahead and claim that bedroll. And then whenever you die, you're going to respawn back at that bedroll instead of all the way back home. Now you'll have to remember to put your bedroll back at your base if you want to keep respawning to your base afterwards. But lodestone is probably the best way, but this is definitely an alternative to using lodestones. Really neat feature for the map is that you can place markers in special interest areas. So if you got a place where you want to mark, you just got to right click on the map and then look around and you can choose whichever icon that you want to place on the map, like so. And then of course, if you want to remove it, all you got to do is right click it again and it'll remove it. And I use this for lodestones and all kinds of other different things. Boss locations, all that good stuff. So don't sleep on your journal. The journal is actually a really great place to go and get recipes for stuff. So if you forget what something is crafted with, you can go, for example, this anti-poison potion. You use Harlander, bittercat mushroom, and clay vessels, and you could use that in the brewing cauldron to get your anti-poison potions. Say, for example, your favorite food. If you want to actually have your favorite food and forgot how to make it, like fortifying soup, for example, and you can do cabbage and bittercat mushroom in the cooking pot, and that'll give you fortifying soup. Same thing goes for weapons. So you just go through here. There's different categories up here that you could check and go through, and it'll give you exactly what that item requires and where you can craft it at. So once you get up to level 20 in construction, you can actually summon a shelter where you can sleep anywhere in the world as long as it's flat. It only requires astral runes and earth runes for you to do so. And all you have to do is just kind of summon it and then go up to it and sleep, and it'll pass the day. Like so. And it'll disappear after, but you can actually just sit there and resummon it anytime you want to, as long as it's a flat surface. You can also just kind of set in the shelter. So for example, if you're out and about and you're really, really tired, then you could actually just sleep in there, which anytime you lay on a bed or lay inside the shelter, it's considered resting, and it will slowly regenerate your tiredness at the very bottom left of the screen. With the resting technique, you can also use the little 1x1 that we showed you earlier for spawning, and you can just lay in there and rest if you are ever tired. If you don't have a way to summon a little shelter yet, you can kind of make your own shelter or keep it with you. Just requires a little bit of wood and then the mats for the bedroll, like so. And then you can just sleep and get your tiredness back up all the way. So I'm just going to mention real quick what the armor level and the levels you see right here at the bottom of your inventory are. So basically this means that you can go to level 4 zones. You should be well equipped for doing so. We have some iron gear here that we can go to level 4 zones with, and it should be quite easy for us to do so. Now, if you go to a really high level zone, it usually does tell you that you are going into a high level zone anytime that you go into that zone. So for example, the Bloodblight Swamps, level 3, the Stormtouch Highlands is level 4, Bramblemead Valley right here is usually 2, and Temple Woods is usually level 1. The Whispering Swamp being level 2, and the Fractured Plains being level 3. So basically, if you're in an area that is a little bit more advanced than you, it's going to be a higher number than you see under your inventory here. And this is based off of your gear. When you get to level 27 Artisan, you're going to be able to learn Magical Mending, and it's going to be able to repair everything you throw on the ground for just Nature Runes and Earth Runes. 10 Nature Runes, 20 Earth Runes, and it has a 60-second cooldown. And this ability is actually quite good. If you throw even your gear on the ground, and say, for example, any of your other armor pieces or weapons that are damaged, all you have to do is bring up the Magical Mending, and just kind of throw it over top of all the items. The items will float in the air like so, and all return back to your inventory like so. Now you're going to have to actually put your gear back on, so just kind of keep that in mind. And sometimes your inventory kind of gets disheveled, but you will repair everything that is thrown on the ground and for just runes, which is really cheap. Rolling is a really great way to actually dodge attacks. You can roll forward, roll backwards. You can backstep like this by just hitting the control button. You can also go ahead and roll left or right. So if you hold A and hit control, you'll go that way. D and control will roll you to the right, and control and W will roll you forward like so. But this works especially great with archers. Right before they fire, if you just roll, you'll actually dodge their attack. Like so. Just like that. So yeah, definitely using the rolls to your ability will keep the archers from pretty much aimbotting you, which is what they do. On your map, you can actually track primary quests like our Dragon Slayer right here. We can track that. It's actually automatically tracked. And you can also track secondary quests by just kind of right-clicking that quest bar. So we can switch back and forth to track whichever quest we want to for our secondaries. You are able to queue up multiple things in your inventory. So for example, if you have a lot of these goblin packs or guru packs to unlock, you can actually sit there and right-click on all of them, kind of like so, and queue them up. You can also do this for food and water as well. Another real quick tip is that if you have a lot of boxes, you can actually name boxes right here in the very bottom where it says name. I actually didn't discover this for a very long time, just because I'm blind probably. But yeah, you can actually name boxes as well. Instead of just having large chests, for example, we'll just put this as foods, and then we'll go ahead and click off of that, and now you can see large chest foods. And it's only whenever you hover over it, so whenever you hover over it, you can see what the name is, which is quite helpful. And of course, the final tip is if you have any questions about the game, just comment down below and we will answer that question about the game or get the answer for you for that question. We answer every single comment that is put on our channel, or at least read them. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm here to answer any comments or questions you have. And that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget, if you like what you see, to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Subscribing will get you more RuneScape Dragonwild videos just like this one. And also, if you're interested, we got a video coming up, should be on your screen right now, for our part 2 of tips and tricks for this game. Check that out if you got the time. And hopefully, we'll see you next time. Peace.